Hello everyone, I'm Brandon, and today I'm going to do my commentary on the wonderful Richard Burnham. He seems like a very stand-up guy, so we'll see if anything in this video here changes my opinion on him. Here we go.
This potential predator pulls up. Watch as he confidently approaches the house for his date with a girl who told him she was 14, without even bothering...
And there he just puts the bottle of what we know is KY jelly into his back pocket.
Without even bothering to knock, 42-year-old Richard Burnham...
Yeah, and it's just so rude to walk into someone's house like that. I might have said that before. Even when I go to visit my parents or people, even people I know very well, you still never just barge in without knocking or announcing that you're there. So especially to be meeting a complete stranger for the first time, regardless of what you're there for, like it's just so, it's not, for lack of a better word, proper to just barge in like that. Like if you know, say even if you just met somebody or whatever, some guy you knew, and you invited him over and he just all of a sudden barged into your house without knocking, like that would piss me off. Like I don't think it's ever happened to me. No one does that. I think it just shows his maybe his horniness has just gotten the better of him, and he just thinks he just wants to dominate this girl, so he's not even gonna treat her with basic common human decency. He's just gonna march right in there.
Enters the house.
Hey!
We hired 18-year-old Casey to play the part of the young teen. She's 5'2".
I always just get like chills up my spine in that brief moment they have where there's like nothing between them. It's just, he could lunge out and grab her here. It must just be so hard for them to try to pretend to be happy to see them while also keeping their distance and trying to get away from them.
And weighs 95 pounds.
I made some brownies. Have a seat.
Casey is posing as the 14...
And of course, this guy Richard, like, I understand, you get older and, you put on weight and stuff, and, I'm not trying to, criticize any people, but this guy has it coming. But he just has that look where you would suspect that the kind of guy who would do this thing. He is like the archetype that would do that kind of thing. Like, when you think of a sex offender like this is what you think of. Some kind of balding, fat loser that looks like this. Like, this guy's not really helping out his situation at all by doing stuff like this. Like, he could go to the gym and, get in shape and do something to improve his life rather than try to have sex with 13-year-old girls.
13-year-old virgin he met over the internet. He was really talking to a decoy from Perverted Justice. Well, online, he pretends to be two different people to try...
Yeah, and this guy, as far as I know, he's one of the few, maybe the only, that did this whole charade of pretending to be two different people. And, I mean, from the Predator's point of view, it almost makes sense, because if he had approached her looking like he does, obviously she would have no interest in talking to him. So he creates a fake persona of this, a little bit older, but quite a bit younger than him, this like 21-year-old persona, and kind of uses that to lure the girl in, and then kind of switches it up and makes up some bullshit excuse that he can't do the meetup, but he has this 37-year-old friend who can meet up, and that of course is him. So it's kind of a way to like buffer him so he just doesn't have to get rejected. And because if it was only the fake persona, the 21-year-old that he made, and all of a sudden this guy shows up and the girl was real, she'd be like disgusted. So he's kind of like figured he's found some like loophole way around having to get his feelings hurt by constantly getting rejected. But it's so slimy at the same time that he did it. It just makes me hate him more for how pathetic this guy, like, for the kind of just the way he pretends to be the victim and everything, and the sad state of affairs his life is in. Like, this guy absolutely deserves it. He's just one of the worst.
Try and lure the PJ decoy into having sex with him. He starts off as Yukon Blue and White, a 21-year-old college student named Rick. He chats about having sex with her, then introduces a friend. Steve takes pics.
I have an older friend who wants a virgin.
Oh.
Yeah, bad.
How old is he?
35.
35. It makes me wonder, like, how often he uses this technique. Like, it just seems like the kind of thing he probably developed over time. I don't know if it ever got to this point where he went to someone's house, because I just can't imagine a lot of young girls being interested in meeting with him. But I'm sure he's tried it. I'm sure he's just out there constantly trolling, constantly talking to these young girls, and he probably kind of developed this. And maybe at first they didn't show him a lot of attention because he was trying to be more of himself. So he created this fake persona to see if that worked, and it probably got him a lot more attention. So that's probably where the light bulb went off in his head, and he's like, what if I use this fake one, have a separate account, and then introduce the girl to the real me? And he probably just thought he was like so clever. And as he was walking up to this house, he probably thought that this worked, and he probably was so happy with himself and so thrilled and thought he was so clever.
Yukon Blue and White continues to promote his older friend, Steve.
Yeah, I'm really sick. But Steve is a great guy. I hope you like getting laid. He'll do an awesome job taking your virginity.
And it also kind of makes you wonder. I mean, I guess technically there's nothing wrong with being 21 and having a 35-year-old friend, but it just seems like that's a fairly big age difference. And for the most part, unless you're like you're working at the same place or it's like an uncle or relative of some sort, like when I was that age, I don't remember hanging around a lot of people that were in their mid-30s. You kind of, especially when you're young, early 20s or younger, you tend to hang out with people that are closer to your own age. So I'm not sure in the chat log if he gets into the specifics of how he knows this Steve guy. But basically in this fake world that he is kind of made up here, these Rick and Steve are friends. One's 21, one's 35. And somehow they got on the topic of like having sex with 13-year-old girls, and they discuss this, and now Rick is helping out his buddy. Like it just doesn't seem like a very plausible situation. I mean, maybe there's people out there that have that kind of a screwed up friendship, but it seems so bizarre. I bet you when like the perverted justice Decoy was reading this, I bet you they were not fooled for a second. They probably knew what was going on. And it just shows how dumb this guy is, that he just thinks that like anyone would fall for this stupid trick.
He's really excited about it.
Now playing the part of the older friend, he uses the screen name Steve Takes Pics.
I hear you want to lose your virginity.
What all did Rick say?
He said you were a virgin and seemed like you wanted to lose it.
The Decoy agrees.
And of course his screen name, Steve Takes Pics. That just kind of adds another dimension to the creepiness factor and kind of shows what he wanted to do.
Steve Takes Pics goes on to use graphic and disgusting language to describe how he plans to take her virginity. Now, the man with 2 online identities has driven 3 hours.
Yeah, and this guy, I didn't read his entire chat log, but I did kind of skim over it, and there was some very disgusting stuff in there. Like, he's talking about, like, her ovulating and wanting to get her pregnant, like, just very, very vile stuff. Like, yeah, it kind of sickened me. On a side note, I am debating kind of doing some chat log commentaries. I'm not sure if anyone would be interested. If you are, let me know, because I'm not really good at doing the voices, kind of like Fast Eddie used to be. But I might have some input on them. So yeah, if anyone's interested, I might try doing them, and we'll see how it goes. But anyways, let's get back to Richard here.
All the way from Connecticut to meet Jane, the 14-year-old.
So, do you want some brownies?
No, I'm all set.
No? He just passed right by the seat, kept going, so I just said, see you later, and got out of there real fast. Okay.
Casey knows she's surrounded.
Oh, and just look at the way he kind of, like, when he decides to go for it. It's hard to see because this footage is pretty bad. But it just looks like he has this, like, stupid grin on his face. Let's watch that.
See you later, and got out of there real fast. Okay.
Casey knows she's surrounded by security people, and she's been instructed to slip.
And I can't tell if that's a grin on his face or not, but it doesn't really matter.
See you later, and got out of there real fast. Okay.
Casey knows she's surrounded by security people, and she's been instructed to slip.
And look at him, just like, what was he thinking there when she, like, bolted? Did he think he was gonna just, casually stroll after her and follow her into a bedroom? Did he think she was shy? But I can't blame her. Like, the decoys, I'm sure, are told, like, if you're even the slightest bit worried or in danger, like, just run for it. Like, don't put yourself in a bad situation or risk an uncomfortable situation just for the sake of entertainment. So, yeah, she just fucking ran.
Surrounded by security people, and she's been instructed to slip away if she ever feels uncomfortable.
How you doing? Hi. Good. What's your seat, right? What you got in your back pocket there?
Busted.
My phone. No, the other back pocket. Can I see it?
Like, he's like, my phone. Like, they're not going to, tell him the other pocket.
What is that?
It's, KY.
Lubricating John.
Yep.
What?
And this guy, like, if this was an honest, straight-up guy, you might feel bad for him that, he's kind of let himself go a bit and, his life is not going very well. If he was, putting effort into being a good person, maybe you'd feel bad for him. But it's absolutely no excuse to be lack of a better term, a piece of shit like he is. Like, this is a very vile, disgusting man. And, like I mentioned earlier, it seems like the Predators are kind of divided into categories about, what their main excuse is. And this guy clearly falls into the, woe is me, I'm pathetic, I'm the victim here, my life is going badly category. And me and other commentators have said before how that is not an excuse at all. I think it's just a human kind of knee-jerk reaction that when you're in trouble and there's absolutely no excuse for you doing what you did, the only thing you could do is trying to garner sympathy by describing any bad incidents in your life or bad things you're going through to make yourself look like a victim and try to get pity. Because quite honestly, every person in the entire world has something bad going on in their life. Like, no matter who you are, how wealthy you are, how good things are going, there's always, family members die, people get sick, your back hurts, your dog dies, like your sports team loses, your best friend's mom has cancer. I mean, there's always, every person in the world is going to have some sort of thing going on in their life that could be used as an excuse for why, things aren't going well. But as good people, you fight through it. And there's people with a hell of a lot worse situations than this idiot that fight hard, try to make something good of it, and you'll keep pressing through. And that's what makes a good person. You don't all of a sudden, things are going badly, so you victimize a child. Like, that is just, it doesn't even come close to making sense. And I don't think they even expect it to. There's no other excuse. The guy is caught there. He knows he's busted. He's got the KY. He's being confronted. His only excuse is to try to garner sympathy with the person accusing him so that he can, make it seem less bad. So the person will be like, okay, you know what? I understand. It's a bad situation. Like, that's the only reason they do it. And it makes you hate them even more, but the fact that they're doing that. And it makes, any one of us listening to this that has bad shit going on in their life and hasn't done something this horrible is going to listen to this guy and just be like, screw you, buddy. Like, it's like, man, people have horrible things going on and they still try to be a good person. They don't go out of their way and do this. So for this guy to try to make this excuse and kind of like we're supposed to have sympathy for him and his situation.
What are you going to use that for?
Was intending on being with her.
Yeah, so at least he's honest at first. Not that I'm giving him any sort of points or credit for that. But I think some of these guys, they're so busted and there's just no excuse.
And how old is Jim?
14.
Steve Takes Pics says he's a freelance photographer, but in his former career, he was a firefighter.
Freelance photographer. I wonder what kind of photography he does. Obviously, because of the situation he's in, your mind kind of goes towards, he's probably doing perverted kind of stuff. At the very least, he's probably like, taking pictures of, women and stuff and just kind of being a creep. But so it's a possibility he's done way worse. Perhaps in the chat log he shed some light on it. It's possible he, maybe he did like sports photography or something completely unrelated. But there's that part of me that just thinks that he probably used the photography for some sort of nefarious purposes.
for 22 years. Did you have a rank when you were a firefighter? What?
Captain.
A captain.
And it also, like, I mean, like, firefighters, it's a very well-respected job, and I bet you, like, 99% of firefighters are just, like, upstanding people. I'd say probably even higher on average upstanding than most people, right? They're probably, they have a risky job, like, they work hard, and it just sucks that just some guy like this is, like, all of a sudden linked to them. I wonder when he kind of got outed doing this, if the rest of the people, like, from his crew or whatever you call it, were just, like, humiliated. Or at least, they probably just want to distance themselves from him. It's, this all of a sudden now they're associated with this freaking guy.
He also reveals that he's divorced and the father of 2 young children.
Oh yeah, and of course he's divorced. I wonder if anyone's ever counted, or if that could be done, like, how many of the predators are single versus how many are married versus how many are divorced. That might be interesting to see, because there's some of them, like James Rutherford, whose commentary I just recently did. He wasn't divorced, but he was going through a divorce. So it seems like, as I do more of these, maybe we'll kind of see if we could figure it out. But it's just like all of a sudden you get divorced, you don't have a wife in the house. It kind of just opens up your free time to just be on the computer all day and night long trolling. And obviously that's not an excuse that, like, divorce leads to this kind of thing, but it probably opens them up where they have a lot more free time on their hands.
Why'd you do it then?
Lonely. And I've got no money.
He's lonely and he's got no money. That might be the only time we've heard the no money thing. We've heard the lonely thing a lot, like a lot with these predators. And that makes no sense either, and it's no excuse. I mean, if you're lonely, it's not like 13, 14-year-old young people are the only ones that can cure you of your loneliness. Pretty much anyone of any age can help with loneliness. Probably a hell of a lot more than a kid, because you could relate to them more. So, I mean, does this guy not have, like, brothers or sisters? Like, does he have parents? It says he's got kids. You go visit his kids. He's got buddies. He probably still has buddies from the fire department. He could just go down to the bar and hang out and, meet people there. Like, I mean, there's so many options other than doing this. So how loneliness leads to this is, I would like to hear one of these guys explain exactly how that works. Is he trying to say that, like, just loneliness leads to deviant behavior sometime? But we all know it doesn't, because I'm sure we've all been lonely at times in our life, and you kind of, you find something to do, or you find someone to hang out with. You don't ever do this. And the no money thing is even stupider than that. It's like, you're broke. Like, is he trying to say he's broke so, a 30, 40-year-old woman would not be interested in him because she would want someone who's financially stable, whereas a child would be not smart enough or really care that he was broke? Like, is that what he's trying to say? Like, how does being lonely and having no money mean you do this kind of thing? But, we know that that's not really what he's saying. He's just trying to get sympathy by saying he's broke. And if you're broke, it's his own fault. Like, I'm sure firefighters get paid a reasonable wage. He's probably got, I don't know if he has, like, a pension or something. But, like, he's an able-bodied guy. It's not like he's unable to work for a physical disability, or he's, like, past working age. Like, if he's 35, he could still work a damn job. Like, if you're broke, go out and work, at Costco if you have to. Like, do something. It's not that hard to get a job. So yeah, just for him to say that, yeah, he's lonely and he has no money, that's one of the worst excuses ever in TCAP.
So because you're short on cash, you decided to have a date with a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, like Chris just pointed out how absurd that is.
Doesn't make it right.
Have you done this before?
No, this is the thing.
Really?
Yeah, and he does the stupid little laugh there. Yeah, I'm sure it's more of a nervous laugh than an actual laugh, but it still makes you hate him.
Have you done this before?
No, this is the thing.
Really? Because you seem pretty skilled at it. Remember,
you
this
have a
man
couple of
telling the
different
sad
schemes.
story about being lonely and broke
Steve takes
is the
pictures.
same man who came up with an elaborate scheme
blue and white.
apparently trying to entice a young
Page
girl
2006.
into having sex with him.
You started this as Yukon Blue and White, posing as a 21-year-old college student.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I prefer younger women in the college to out of college age range.
And that does not answer Chris's question, like, at all. That makes no sense.
And I like talking to them.
So now you change identities on.
So Chris's question was, why did you pretend to be a 21-year-old named Rick? And his answer is that he likes talking to college girls. So I guess maybe what he's saying is that college girls won't talk to a guy of his age, so he has to pretend to be a college guy to talk to them. Like, yeah, that's disturbing.
Online, right?
Yes.
And then you pick up the conversation.
Not to mention, this girl that he was talking to is not in the college age range.
I hear you want to lose your virginity. You really 35? I'm 37. Which is not true because you're actually 42.
Right.
Oh, he's actually, right. He's actually 42. Yeah, and why do guys like make that subtle of a change? Like it's somehow they're going to be in less trouble if they're 35 versus 37 or 42. I mean, like, and even with the girl, like she's probably, if she's 14, she's young enough that 35 would seem really old, and so would 42. Like, it's probably not going to be a massive difference. So what's the point of shaving like 5 or 7 years off your age?
So there are layers of lies here.
Yeah.
All in
And this guy just, he just admits to everything. He he makes up like excuses of why he's pathetic and stuff, of why he's doing it, but he doesn't seem to be defending himself at all. Some of the guys kind of defend themselves. He just owns up to it.
intended, it would appear, to set up.
He doesn't seem that nervous or scared, though. Some of the guys seem very nervous. He almost has that kind of like Joshua Cologne vibe to him, where he just kind of like, it just doesn't seem to faze him that much. He just kind of owns up to it, and yep, I did it. I'm caught. That's it.
Up a sexual liaison with a 14-year-old girl. Right?
Yes.
This goes on for some 20 days, by the way. That's called grooming. What do you think would have happened had there been...
And I'm not so, like, I know what he means like, by the grooming, but just because it's a long chat does not necessarily mean it was grooming. I could be wrong. I'm not sure, like, the clinical definitions of these things. But I think, like, grooming means you slowly lead the person into a sexual conversation or situation. You know, you start out normal and slowly lead them into it. If I remember correctly, very quickly, probably in the first day, he was already doing the sexual stuff. And he just kept doing that for 20 days before he met her. So I don't necessarily think that's grooming. I will have to go over the chat log and see if that's the case. I think like James Rutherford would be more of grooming because he didn't just jump into the really gross stuff right away. He kind of just, slowly pursued and got worse and worse, where I'm pretty sure this guy was kind of vulgar right from the beginning. And, same with Lauren Armstrong. That wasn't so much grooming. There was grooming aspects of it, like of him trying to control her, but he was, exposing himself and talking about sex stuff very quickly. So, yeah, I always thought grooming meant, like, you take your time to kind of, get to know the victim, get to know their parents and their family, kind of, insert yourself into their lives, get closer to them, make them trust you before you start doing anything wrong. I thought that's what grooming was. Where rather than here, it's just, he's just being a pervert for 20 days online. I'm not sure if that's the same thing, but I could be wrong.
A 14-year-old girl here home alone?
I think it's pretty evident.
Pretty evident. All right.
And it could be part of the reason maybe why these guys like him and Joshua Cologne kind of don't even try to fight it. It could be they've had this problem for a while. They knew it was a problem. They had this compulsion. They couldn't stop. And they just probably knew that like, eventually they were going to get caught. And they would maybe part of their mind had kind of prepared them for that eventuality. So when it finally happened, they're just like, yeah, this is it. finally got caught. There's no defense. They kind of just resign themselves to their fate and don't even try to put up a defense.
Well, Rick, I need to tell you that I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. And we're doing a story on adults who try to meet young teens online for sex.
I don't want cameras.
You can leave right now.
I don't want cameras. Doesn't matter what you want there, Richard.
I'm going to be in trouble once I go.
Yeah, it's not up to me. You should take your jelly.
Okay.
While Steve Takes Pics has been inside, the police have moved into position alongside the house, waiting for him to walk out and arrest him.
I wonder if these police officers, I mean, I know it's their job, but I wonder, especially with just creeps like this, if they really enjoy their work, if it's just kind of fun just being able to, like, surprise them like this and scare them. And I think I'd enjoy it.
Get on the ground! Do not resist. Get on the ground. Lay flat on the ground.
He's taken away in an unmarked police car and later transported to jail. He and all...
And they all just, hang their head like that. It's, when he was walking into that house and just kind of burst in there without so much as a knock or ringing the doorbell or even announcing that he was there, he was just full of confidence. Confidence that he didn't deserve, that he should not have had. And then here, now that they're busted, all of a sudden now his head's sagging and we kind of, we see the reality of him. This is probably how, if you could personify the way that his life is and the way he feels in a body posture, this is it, right? He can't even look anyone in the eyes, just hanging his head there in shame, being led away in handcuffs. I really hope that this guy got what was coming to him. All right, so that's Richard Burnham. He's, I guess my initial sarcastic observation at the beginning that he was a stand-up guy was completely wrong. This guy just really disturbs me. And the funny thing is like, just in kind of the TCAP community, he's not really one of the more famous ones. He's kind of lesser known. But I just find him to be one of the more disturbing ones, and it's kind of just, it's chilling to know that there are lots of guys out there like this that just look like some kind of pudgy average guy who actually had a decent job as a firefighter. You see people like this every day, but he's actually at home at night on the internet doing this kind of thing and trying to meet girls like this. And probably since this was filmed, the problem's probably even worse now, just with more communication methods and stuff. And there's all these guys out there with just pathetic lives that are divorced and just sitting at home trying to do this kind of stuff. And, the police can't really keep up with it. So it's very disturbing to know. So hopefully, all we can hope is that these guys keep getting caught. And at least at, this one time in history, in this kind of 2006, 2007 or whenever this was, that we got some entertainment that kind of exposed the problem like this, that we could still be watching it, almost 20 years later. So anyways, that's it for now, and I will see you guys next time.